Hi there, and thank you so much for joining me. I realize that you could be doing anything else but watching me, but I so appreciated that you took the time to listen to what I have to say about hair. That really makes my day. Now, if you're having lunch right now, why don't you just listen along as you eat your lunch and give me a comment. But today, I would really appreciate that. But today I wanted to talk about, can you tell if your hair loss is permanent, or how can you tell whether or not hair loss is permanent without seeing the doctor or without seeing a trichologist initially? Initially, I don't want to say at all, but initially. So what you can do is, if you notice that you have some thinning around the hairline area, your edges, or on the crown, the top of your head, you might want to take a look to look carefully at the scalp and see if you see any fuzzy hair, or is it just completely clean. But if you see fuzzy hair, what that means is there are follicles there. There are still follicles there, and they may just need to be left alone, stimulated or nourished, and then left alone so that your hair can regrow through those follicles. And what you might, if let's say you're wearing a protective style. Let's say you are wearing braids, okay, where you add the hair, not with your own hair per se, but if you add the hair, let's say that you are wearing braids, and you notice over some time that when you take them out, you have thinning in the hair. Then I would recommend, if you are concerned about it, I would recommend that you take the braids out and let your hair sort of get back into its pattern, into its growth pattern, so that you can regrow your hair. I would not see what happens is, I think, let me know in the comments below, but I think what happens is, when you notice the hair loss, then you say, well, I have to cover this up. I can't walk around like this. So I have to cover it. And then it's sort of like a cycle that just sort of repeats itself. It's just like a never ending cycle, where you see the hair loss, you panic, and so you cover it, but then that creates more hair loss. And you get the idea of just like a cycle. So I would say, if you are concerned about hair loss, uh, don't keep doing what's causing the hair loss. I know that it's really scary, and I know that it's really uh, hair loss is a huge, huge issue. I mean, you're blessed if you have good health. I know that. You know that. But hair loss is a pretty big issue. It affects our self esteem, how we feel about ourselves, our confidence, how we are perceived by others, and all of that. So I know that it's a big deal. So I really want this for you. If you notice that you have some thinning, I know the knee-jerk reaction is to cover it, but what I'm saying to you that you might want to think about is to actually focus on healing the scalp. Focus on healing your scalp so that your hair growth cycle, you could fall back into the pattern where your hair, has its phases of growth and development, without the hindrance of covering your hair, because that might be damaging follicles in two ways. The first way, your hair does not, your follicles does not get the oxygen that it needs so that it can grow. And we want those hair follicles to, we want to give our hair follicles the best chance possible for growth, especially if the growing rate has slowed down, or stopped, or is dormant. Then we want to give our hair the best possible environment, or our follicles, our scalp, the best possible environment for growth. So if you notice that, the best time to do something about it is right then, and to sort of like break that cycle. I know it's like a knee jerk reaction, but to go against go against what feels natural, which is to cover, but instead to nourish and nurture and, baby yourself. Baby yourself. Give your hair, give your scalp that tender, loving care that it needs. And you might notice that you will be able to regrow your hair, because sometimes the hair loss is temporary. um, it's called traction alopecia or tension alopecia. It's just temporary. It's just temporary. But it's like your body is giving you like a little warning. So when you see those signs, I would say pay attention, nourish your scalp, stimulate your follicles, eat nutritionally dense foods, um, and don't cover. At least if you have to cover, maybe just like, let's say you have to go to work, or something, you have to cover. I say, okay, cover your hair with like a scarf, a hat. I know winter's coming up, a scarf or a hat, or even a wig. That my recommendation would not be a wig that is glued on, again, so that you can remove it, so that your scalp can get the oxygen that it needs for growth. But if you notice that if you look at your scalp and you see that there's fuzzy hair, that means that the follicle is still alive. There is hope that you can regrow your hair. Okay, so that's a good thing. That's a good thing. There is hope, and I'd be so happy for you as well. But there is hope that you can regrow your hair. Now, if you look at your scalp and you don't see um, any even peach fuzz, any sort of fuzz, any sort of hair activity um, on your scalp, then I would say uh, at that point, it would be a good idea to visit a trichologist, which is a hair specialist, and they will look at your scalp under a microscope or something like that. They have a machine or they have a handheld device that they're looking, and they'll be able to see if the follicle is there. And the hope is that the follicle is still there. Then when it's there, then it's just about stimulating the follicle, again, through diet, through technique, through allowing your hair to just be. Just let your hair be, and it'll get back into its natural rate of growth, which is the hope. Okay, so I just wanted to come on here today and just talk a little bit about that. That if you notice some thinning around the hairline or on the crown, again, it's really important to just stop doing what's causing the hair loss. I know sometimes we do things, myself included. I'm going to include myself in here too. We do things without really thinking about why are we doing it. And I had to really stop and think, like, why am I doing this? My hair, is not thriving. How can I do things differently so that my hair can thrive? And so that's what I would encourage. That's what I want for you, to be able to do the same thing, to come up with a plan, come up with a routine that's going to result in you being able to regrow your hair, because it is possible. Okay, so I hope that you found this information helpful. I appreciate you for watching the entire video, and I'll be back with another video. Okay, so I hope that you're having a good day, and see you on the next one. Bye.